Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we're making a sweet potato pie so you can get ready for the holidays.
Grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today we are making this delicious sweet potato pie, and this is one of my older recipes. I made it many years ago, but I thought I'd bring it back and give it a little new life because I figured you probably haven't seen this recipe before, or maybe you don't even know that we have a website full of recipes that you can draw from. So we're going to jump right in. We're going to start on our crust. So I already have my oven preheated to 350 degrees. And I have my food processor here because that's what you need to get all of this blended together to make a crust. So you have 1 cup of rolled oats, 1 cup of unsweetened coconut, and 1 cup of pitted dates. As simple as that. Now we're going to blend this, and once it all gets into a uniform shape, if it doesn't start sticking together, which it probably won't, it just depends on your dates. Sometimes they're a little bit dry. You might have to use a little bit of water. So I have just a little bit of water here that we can kind of do a tablespoon at a time just to get that to stick together. Okay, that looks perfect. And you can tell it's just right if you take it together and you squeeze it together like this and it kind of sticks together. That's perfect. Because if you don't get it to stick together, then when you try to get your piece of pie out, it's going to be a little too crumbly. So we're just going to throw all of this in. And this is just a regular pie plate. I believe it's a 9.5 inch, or if you have a 9-inch, that's fine too. And you're just going to press with your hands until you get a nice looking crust. You want to bring it up on the sides, probably about 1.5 inches or so, which just takes a little bit of time and patience. And when you get to the edges, I usually just use my one hand on the inside of the pie, pressing against the wall, and then I use my fingers to kind of press down at the same time to create a nice edge on the top, because you are going to see the edge of this pie crust. But it's not going to look like just your standard pie crust, you know, where you do the little fancy little pinch so it looks really pretty. These pies don't really work quite like that. But you can kind of make it look nice, just to have a little bit nicer edge instead of this rough, crumbly looking edge. And then it helps you to get it right to the level that you want it. And I didn't oil my pie plate at all because there's so much, you know, good whole food fat from that coconut that it doesn't really stick too bad to the sides. And it firms up really nice so you can get a really good piece of pie out. All right, there we go. All right, so my oven's already preheated and we're just gonna pop it in for 10 minutes. There's no denying the plant-based diet is a nutrient powerhouse, but did you know there are a handful of hard-to-get nutrients even well-crafted diets are often lacking? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why my daily health routine includes Complement Essential. Complement Essential contains the 8 critical nutrients lacking from most plant-based diets in dosages optimized specifically for us. Plus, Complement is completely transparent about ingredient sourcing and third-party testing, publishing the results directly on their website. As a special discount for our viewers, just use code PLANTBASEDEASY at checkout to save 15% off of your order. Okay, so now on to the filling. So I have 2.5 cups of sweet potato puree. I just put my sweet potatoes, I washed them and then poked a couple little holes in them, put them in the oven on 400 for about 45 minutes, and it kind of just depends on the size of your sweet potatoes for how long it takes you to bake them. You could do this in your air fryer or even boil them, really. Whatever way is quickest for you to get this softened up. So we're going to put this into our blender. Then I've got 1 cup of pitted dates, a teaspoon of ginger, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and a ½ teaspoon of allspice, 1½ tablespoons of arrowroot powder, or you could use cornstarch or tapioca powder. It all kind of works the same. You just need something to help it thicken a little bit, and when it bakes, it sets up a little bit firmer. And then I have 2 tablespoons of lime juice. That's just gonna lift it a little bit because this is so rich that you need something to kind of cut it just a little bit. And then I have 3/4 of a cup of canned coconut milk. And this is the full fat coconut milk. If you want to make it a little bit lighter, you could use the light coconut milk. All right, so now we're just going to put our lid on. And you do need a high-speed blender just to get all of this really nice and creamy, and so that you don't have any big chunks of dates left. All right, I'm going to scrape this down. It's almost there, but I'm just going to scrape this down one more time. There's still some stuff stuck to the edges, and blend it just one more time. Okay guys, look at that. Nice and creamy. All right, so now we're just going to pour this into our pie, our crust. And I'm making this now so that you have plenty of time to test this out to see if you fall in love with this before you make it for Thanksgiving. But I already know you're going to fall in love with it. Oh wow, it smells so good. All those warm smells of autumn. This pumpkin pie type of spices. Yum. Okay. Now we just move it around so that you get a nice surface. Get it all the way out to the edges. And you want to smooth off the top pretty well, because we're not going to cover the whole surface with our cashew cream. We're going to leave it so you can do dollops of it on your individual slices. So you're going to see the top of this pie. So you want it to look kind of nice. Make a little swirly pattern in here. Okay, and our oven is still on 350 degrees. We're going to stick that in there for about 40 minutes. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of free printable recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook series, are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting membership community. Our supporting members gain access to great member perks like our monthly product giveaways, ebooks, and in-depth courses, including our 28 Days Plant-Based Made Easy course, where we offer a step-by-step guide to making the switch to a fully plant-based diet. So if you love our recipes, I invite you to join us on our mission to make plant-based cooking easy, and follow the link in the description to become a supporting member today. Okay, let's get back to the show. Okay, our pie is in the oven, so now we're on to that delicious creamy topping that is typically like a whipped cream that you would put on top of sweet potato pie. But this is a cashew cream, and alternatively, I'll talk about this first. If you're trying to do nut-free, I have an alternate recipe for you using white sweet potatoes. These are Japanese sweet potatoes. They're not always available in the grocery store. Your grocery store might not actually have them. You'll have to just ask about them, but they're usually around at this time of year. And if you find them, just a tip, I would buy a bunch of them. Cook them up, freeze them, whatever. You will love them. They're so useful because once they're gone out of the grocery store for the season, you won't see them probably till next year. But I'll have that recipe in the link with the printable recipe. So I have a cup and a half of cashews. And you could also use almonds, they work just as good. I have a half a cup of pitted dates, a half teaspoon of vanilla extract, and 3/4 of a cup of water. And then we're just going to use our smaller blender, our NutriBullet here. It should work good enough. Just take some patience to get this to keep moving. You have to scrape it down and, you know, blend, scrape down, blend, scrape down. But it is delicious. All right, there we go. Super, super, super silky. And it does look a little bit runny right at the moment, but once we'll put the lid on this and we'll stick it in the refrigerator while our pie is finishing baking, and then you'll still just leave it in the refrigerator until your pie is cool and ready to serve, and it will set up beautifully. So that's what I'm going to do. Just going to scrape the sides down a little bit. Put the lid on and pop it in the refrigerator. And now all we're doing is waiting for that pie to finish. Okay, our pie is out of the oven and it smells magical. Come on in for a look. And yes, as you can see, the crust is a little bit dark, a little bit darker than what I would like. So you could probably back off on the time to maybe about 35 minutes, but it all depends on your oven. They're all kind of different and nobody's perfect, right? I also wanted to show you our frosting. So this one is the sweet potato one and this is the cashew one. And if you come on in and take a look, they both look very similar, both magically creamy and both amazingly delicious. So you won't be missing out on the nut version if you make the sweet potato frosting kind. All right, I'm gonna let this cool for a little bit and then I'll meet you at the table for a taste. Okay, let's taste this pie. Still a bit hot, but that's okay. It just smells so good. And I know it tastes good because I've had this many, many times. I think I came up with this recipe, I don't know, probably 4 years ago, something like that. But I thought I would bring it back to the surface so that you guys can all try it out. Yeah, it's probably better if you don't take it out like this, like I am when it's hot. But I just couldn't wait and I had to show you guys. Ooh, look at that. Creamy, look how creamy that is. Wow. Okay, and we can't forget about this beautiful cashew cream. Blop. There we go. Okay. Oh boy, this is gonna be hot. That is so silky. It just melts in your mouth. But then you get a bite of the crust and it's really chewy and it has that really nice warm flavor of the coconut. Oh my goodness. That is delicious. You are gonna wanna have this for breakfast even. It's so good. All right, guys, so be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, come on back next week, and I'll make another great recipe for you.